Texas Legislative Update. Today we have Mr. Charlie Garza, who is a member of the State Board of Education, and we're going to be covering why right now today it's very important what's happening in Austin, Texas, and how you can be a part of it in making sure our State Board of Education stays strong and why it should be supported and stay strong through the redistricting mapping process. Stay tuned next week. I invite you back. Charlie's going to share his story, which I think is a tremendous American story that too many times we make movies of, but we're going to be doing a program about it, and tune in next week for his true American story. But we welcome you today, Charlie, to be with us about the State Board.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now you've come on board. Tell us a little bit what's been going wrong, going right, and what you see happening.
Well, let me be very honest with you. A lot's been going wrong. It's actually scary to see what goes on behind the scenes, and I wish more people knew what the State Board does. Let's talk about the right first. That's important. We should always focus on the positive before we go to the negative. The State Board, before I got on board, passed some amazing standards on social studies. But what you saw in the media was this, I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. And if you actually read the standards, as opposed to reading the hype in the media, you go, how is this?
Right. And that's what we saw this past summer on Fox News, CNN, network media, the trucks in Houston covering our State Board of Education and showing how we had become a bunch of right-wing religious conservative nuts in Texas. And why I think people have got to understand what Texas does with our textbooks and what we teach makes a difference nationwide because we're the largest purchaser, or one of the largest. So
now we are the largest, because California right now is almost bankrupt.
That's
so
right.
That makes us the largest.
So we will affect whatever you as the State Board, what they did this summer, and the battle they fought and won as conservatives, traditional American history. That's basically what they did.
Okay, can we talk about that a second? Let's talk about, about the importance of that. I think it's very important. For example, one of the biggest claims is, oh my goodness, you took Thomas Jefferson out of the TEKS. Not true. He was taken from one area and placed in another area. In fact, Thomas Jefferson is mentioned only second to President George Washington.
So that's just total lie.
Well, no, he was taken out and put somewhere else. They forgot the second part.
Well,
he put somewhere else part.
That's right.
Come on, easy omission.
Yeah, right. It was, not biased about that. The other thing was, do they not have to read some documents in public education now called the Constitution and the Bill of Rights?
Yes, I mean...
who was the author of one of those documents?
Let me think a second. For some reason, the name TJ or initials TJ ring a bell to me.
And so every year now, they have to study what Thomas Jefferson, not only study, but at some point, memorize and quote some of it, right?
We hope that. We hope that we're on the way to doing that, but you would have thought that we just, took the earth and put it on its left ear.
Who are some of the heroes that our State Board put in as compared to some that they wanted put in?
Well, let's talk first another perspective first, okay? Things they wanted out. Okay. I think that's equally as important as what we put in. They wanted Christmas out because it dares mention Christ. Okay? Because, shouldn't we sing Happy Holidays?
Yeah.
Isn't that the right thing to say? I know my car has Happy Holidays, doesn't yours?
Sure.
They want to take Rosh Hashanah out because that's not important. But yet in the current TEKS, there's a huge focus on Islam. And the only real mention of Christianity, realistically, is the Crusades and how the Christians went in there and just made the world a mess.
So our kids were being taught of how destructive the Christian people have been in historical perspective. No positive of that. It's created the strongest, most successful society in the history of planet Earth. We don't want to mention that.
We can't do that.
All right.
Okay? And that, to me, is fundamental to what makes the old TEKS wrong. Because if we're going to talk history, who's revising history? It's not us. We're talking about history in the context in which it existed. And now, in order to try to find equitability, because we know we're an equitable nation, they added Oprah into the TEKS. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Oprah.
No.
She's a great talk show person. And if I want to win a car someday, I might get lucky and find a key underneath my seat.
Now, and she seems to be a great person.
She does.
Generous, and help the needy. But to take the place of people like,
Neil Armstrong.
Okay.
He was taken out.
Oh, he was taken out?
Yes.
Oprah put in?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you. So we won that victory this past summer. Now bring us to date to current. As of today, what is at risk are we seeing happen? We thought hadn't that battle been won?
It had.
Okay.
And right now,
we don't have to worry about it now, right?
I received an email from Mavis Knight, which is Dallas suburb, that said that she is concerned because the Dallas editorial page is upset with the State Board of Education. LULAC is upset with the standards. And MALDUF is upset. And when I read that, my first thought was, since when do those three entities control what's best for Texas? But that's the reality.
Right.
And
so,
she actually asked the chairman that she wants to bring back up the social studies standards.
So they're talking now of if they win control, and I think we can mention that just real quickly, that they are currently talking about what we thought we had won, the battles we had won for our textbooks on the social studies to bring traditional American or Western culture values in as part of the truth of the whole history is now being challenged again. So they're opening back up, and there is the option of us losing that battle even today. You were here. You have made the difference, and the people have called in, and I want to commend Chairman Bert Solomon today and our chairman of our Republican caucus stated on record that it was a first step, and that because the state board had mentioned and because the people have called in, they are considering now letting the Senate do the second step, and that's to replace the map voted today with one that better aligns the desires of the state board. But that is still a work in progress. We now have to go to the Senate. But I am proud to say that Chairman Solomons and Larry Taylor, our caucus chairman, made it very clear that they were listening to our state board conservative members, and the battle is still there on that map. So I commend them for that and the work you've done to make that possible.
Well, I pray that you're right. I really do, because unfortunately, I know Austin like I know D.C. And let's not confuse talk with reality.
Right.
And at this point, how often have you heard, I will do this, and you turn right around? Remember, a month ago, Bush tax cuts were good.
Yes.
2 days ago. Oh, my goodness.
How terrible. Okay, well, we have the battle then. So what do we need to do as far as today that you would have the folks start calling their senators now?
Call members of the Senate saying to approve the actual map put forth by the State Board of Education, in which at least 9 members of the board, the majority, agree is a good map for Texas.
So do not approve the map passed by the House.
Correct.
But instead the one that the State Board of Education 9 members have approved.
Correct.
And that's the message we need to call the Senate.
That's the absolute best we're going to do, yes, sir.
Charlie, the one thing I think people don't understand is the State Board of Education, you as a member, are the one group of folks that make less money than the Texas House members do. We make $600 a month, you earn $0.
Actually, when I lose money.
That's right.
Because
you have to pay your own travel, you have no staff, no secretary, no phone expenses, no computers, no office. This is totally a citizen that is dedicating out of your own pocketbook, running for state office. And how many people do you serve? And tell us a little bit about the state board.
Well, under the current map configuration as it exists, it's 1,600,000. And under the new map, it'll be just shy of 1,700,000 because of the recent increase of population based on the new census. The district, to give you a visual, goes from El Paso, and just for some reason skips Odessa and goes around it, goes to Midland, and then makes a veers somewhat south, and goes to about 120 miles outside Austin, and then heads south around San Antonio, and down to South Texas to the Rio Grande Valley, to Zavala, Zapata, Jim Hogg, and Laredo. It is geographically the largest district in Texas, and it is equal or greater than or equal to over 30 states in the United States.
And you, out of your own pocketbook, of your own expense, are supposed to travel, meet, and work and represent the school people, the citizens of Texas.
Well, not quite. I get a very generous stipend of $3,000, with which I go out and I do those kind of things. So I can't claim that it's all of my expense. And at $4 a gallon of gas, that'll take me for about a week.
That's
I
okay.
think, and getting that done. But I do have a stipend of sorts that I use for
Well, I just want
for
people
travel.
to appreciate that this is a true citizen organization that's mostly volunteer effort, away from your family and time and your profession, for people who really have to care and dedicate themselves. It is a true service to the citizens of the state. Well, thank you for tuning in this week to the Texas Legislative Update. I want to encourage you. You've heard Mr. Garza talk of what the importance of the state board. Call your state senator today. Make sure that they replace the House redistricting map for the State Board of Education with the new map they've been presented by the members of the State Board of Education that retain the conservative view of the traditional American values on our state board.